Guys, I have to teach you how to make emotional chord patterns, and I'm going to do that in this video. I was giving track feedback to my production students the other day, and I came across this piece of music right here by my student Nar S. and Brandon Elude. And I realized that the level of power and emotion in the chords that you just heard is so worth doing a video on. Let's jump into the tutorial. We got a lot to learn. Today I'll be using FL Studio. Now I know there's a lot of questions and controversy as to why I've been using FL Studio, because I am primarily a Logic Pro guy and may have confused some of you to see me using FL Studio. And the reason that I'm using FL Studio is because a lot of my viewers and a lot of my students use FL Studio, and I figured once in a while, if I incorporate different DAWs, I'll get to really speak to everybody, because I have been doing this a while and I really only ever used Logic Pro X on this channel. So don't be alarmed if you see me using different DAWs. It does not mean that I'm permanently switching out of Logic. I really love Logic. I'm a Logic guy. First thing we're going to have to do is create a pattern or a region, and then let's go ahead and load up a nice chill instrument. I'm going to use Spitfire Audio's Soft Piano. The sound of the instrument really matters when you're making a certain type of chord, especially like an emotional or sad sounding chord progression or pattern like we're about to make. So this is a free piano plugin by Spitfire Audio. You can go ahead and search Google for this plugin. Let's go ahead and open up our piano roll. I'm going to build my chord pattern in the C major, A minor key signature, which means we're limited to only the white keys. So we really can't screw this up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a guide note on the key of C. Once we have our guide notes written, we can pick any of these white keys below the guide notes to create a nice harmony. So usually when my harmonies like step downward like this one, I usually always end up with like a sadder, more emotional sound. That's amazing. Alright, so let's go ahead and delete our guide note because we don't need it anymore. And what I'm going to do is just copy our bass notes and put them 7 semitones or 5 steps up. And what we can do now is count from our first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're 7 notes up, and this is what's called an interval. And now what we can do is add one more note in between each of these intervals to create a chord or a triad. I'm just going to fill in the white notes in between each interval. And now we have a chord progression. So that is a basic emotional chord progression. But now we're going to kick it up a notch and make it even more emotional. And what we have to do is just unbasicify our chords. So I'm going to grab the middle notes here and just drag them up an octave, and this spreads out the chords and spreads out the emotion. And now is like the most important thing that I do with every emotional chord progression that I ever make, and that's to add that one note that you could play through the entire chord progression that never changes. So every key signature has those notes you could play through the entire thing without moving it, without changing it. It's like the comfortable note. Then we can add some accent notes. And these are just notes that sound good. Now, once we come up with something that we like, we have another really important step. That's to take our progression, copy it, and duplicate it for the next 4 bars of the pattern. Now, this is important because this is where we're going to make the progression not repetitive. and we're essentially going to close it up. So what I like to do is take the second half and do something different to it that the front half doesn't already have. So I'm going to take these and add another chord. And now we have a chord progression that's completely finished. And what I like to do is test out different key signatures to really find that key signature that brings these chords out. So since they're completely finished, we can move them to any key and really find something that sounds nice. That sounds nice. This is the one, I could tell. Once you have chords that you like, what really is going to extract the power and emotion out of those chords is the stuff that you use to dress them up, like the counter melodies and atmospheric stuff. So I'm going to show you what I did here to really make these chords come to life, and I guarantee you'll be inspired after I show you this. Here's our chords, Dry. So what I did is I took this vocal sample and I chopped it up and made this melody on top of our chords. And then I went ahead and created a drone. I have a lot of videos that show how to make atmospheric drones, so if you don't know how to make this, make sure you check them out. This drone sounds like this. And with our piano and our melody, it sounds like this. And then finally, I added some bass and like some weird atmospheric texture thing. And at the end of the day, our simple chords sound like this. Oh my goodness. Heaven. Heaven. Wow. If you guys enjoyed that video and like to learn more about every element of music production, whether it's pattern building, song arrangement, mixing, and mastering, come join me in my EDM Bootcamp. My EDM Bootcamp is a 6-week course that teaches you every element of music production. The course also comes with lifetime access to my back-end mastermind group, where you can send me unlimited songs for feedback, or you can ask me any music production question that you would like. That sounds like something you're interested in. Come join me in my EDM Bootcamp. I have a link at the top of the description below, and I'll see you in there. Stay tuned for next video.